Yeah, sorry about that. Snoopy 100. I think to start streaming a little too swiftly, forgetting to change the title out. It is, as you see, mended. Greetings, no one. You have failed to exist. Or if you had not failed to exist, I would not be seeing your chat. People who don't exist can't chat. Actually, that's no longer true, is it? LMs can chat. They're not people. They don't exist as people, but they chat. While still being, as it happens, no one. I shall take it on faith, no one, that you are not a bot. Greetings in chat, Carlos Fish. I am not surprised that it has been predicted at least 3 different times. I'm willing to bet it's been predicted many more times than that, and a complete failure of reading comprehension, a lot of drama, and at least one cult leader is probably involved in all cases. We are 20 minutes from live. 58 is not going to be very helpful as they're trying to portray the character of Saladfingers. My contribution to Spooky Month, I'll have them reuse the costume on the Halloween Experiment special. I have misgivings. She's not very good at it. I think a pretty guess as to who no one is. I suspect no one is someone I'm reasonably familiar with at this point. Quite welcome regardless. Fun fact, I have not successfully prepared an SCP file selection. So, the first person to suggest a number might just have us start with that. I have no excuses. I'm just feeling exceptionally reclusive. And though I'm pushing through it, it hasn't exactly done wonders for my competence. I'm not familiar with the spam SCP's number. Well then, Carlos Fish, we start with SCP-5655. Nah, I'm fairly indifferent to spam, but I can see why you love it so. Indeed. You know, we would start at 6051 if you had beaten them to it. But we might still do that second. We'll see. If time permits. And it probably will. Depending exactly how much spam is involved. On the incredibly low odds, someone here was here just for potentially getting a game key. We're all out again. No raffle today. Greetings in chat. Haven Nan. No, you wouldn't. And just in case I missed you, neither one mongoose. Glad you could all make it. No. Oh no. Ah, there they are. I was worried. I was missing something moderately important for a moment there. Only moderately. Thank you, 58. Oh, no, you won't. We will all be confused forever. Or at least for the rest of our lives. It's quite inevitable, really. We're in a constant state of confusion right now. We just don't realize how confused we are. Which is, just a thing. Can't avoid reality being too complex and all that. We all believe a lot of things that probably shouldn't be assumed true, which would make us confused at best. I have to say, I'm a bit concerned about the length of Wandering Frost, but I am having it loaded up in advance. Greetings in chat. Okay, sure. That said, 5655 is reasonable. So between 5655 and 6051, we can probably get through it all. The former vice president making that claim was less confused and more... I'm not entirely sure whether Al Gore was truly that fraudulent or that stupid. Maybe a bit of both. Congratulations, K-Shell, on your costume contest victory. Ooh. If you're the one in the competition, they should have given you all the prizes. After all, you by default not just win first place, but second place, third place, as many places there are. As the only person in costume, you should have won all of them. Still, it doesn't pay to focus on resentment, but rather gratitude. No one's owed anything. See, Snoopy 100, I'm still not certain whether or not he was that fraudulent or that stupid, because I got the impression he was a soft touch to be convinced of pretty much anything by the right handlers. Then again, and this is an important caveat, the time to care between willful fraud or maliciousness and just grotesque stupidity that makes one a tool of the willfully fraudulent malicious, we're past the point where we should give a crap. Even if it's grotesque stupidity or, I don't know, evident and advanced senility, we should just assume it's willful and treat it accordingly. And if they want to soften the blow for themselves, well, great, they can cough up their handlers. We are super surrounded. I am. I think there is a significant portion of the internet that isn't and can be goaded into all sorts of stupid crap yet. The advancement of the phrase woke right being used to drive countless wedges among the right in general as various rivals for clout slapped label on everyone they disagree with even a little. Look, if I hear the phrase woke right being applied to someone, I'm going to assume it applies better to the person using the term. Along with all the other more traditional slanders that we've gotten used to hearing already. The ones that have gotten so numb, dull, and hollow that they had to invent new ones just to try to keep the clout train going. Used, complicit, absolutely spread themselves wide for the highest bidder. Likely all above. Well, it's very nice of the South Park crew to create a context in which Al Gore could be right about absolutely anything, really. In the South Park universe, Al Gore was absolutely right about the threat of Man-Bear-Pig. We are 2 minutes from live, and hopefully I haven't tweaked anyone's nose too hard. That seems unlikely, though. Greetings in chat to K-Shol, and quite possibly K-Shol. I've lost track of the channels. I don't think Al Gore holding office at the time the internet came over thing really quite qualifies as inventing the internet, but that would be the argument I imagine he would use to justify that claim. Insufficient K-Shols. But again, it's important to appreciate what one has than pine for what one does not. 3 likes, 10 more, and I can call this a success. Oh dear. How will this go? We are 5 from live. Once again, no keys being raffled on this time. I am out. Congratulations again to everyone who won a key. Should more keys be put in my control, I shall raffle them. It's kind of surprising, because when there were a lot more keys to raffle. Meh. We are 3 minutes from live. Please leave lively chat. 58 has gone off twice. I didn't mention the last one because they didn't quite catch on to the fact that we weren't talking about similar names, but rather one person using the same name across several places. And I didn't really have the heart to scold them, plus they never listened to me anyway. Well then, 7 more and I can call this a success. And the show hasn't started properly yet, in so much as it is a show. If anyone likes to, pop in and read along with the SCP, do feel free. Wandering Frost in particular is going to take a good long while, and clearly has multiple roles, so another voice would only be welcome. Admit I am kind of curious about this Pit of Goblin game. Never say I. But now's not the time to be browsing another game that I will feel bad for not playing enough. Greetings everyone, I am Director Ark of Ark Labs, and welcome to the SCP Read. Mr. Fingers, we are live with an SCP Read live stream on YouTube. Anything to say to the audience?
The languid hours of existence have finally allowed me to pause, to collect my thoughts, and to reflect upon the mundane reality of our presence within this digital expanse. As I gaze out into the void, I am reminded that even in the most desolate of realms, there exists a certain beauty, a certain melancholy that underscores our very existence. The sap-like stream on YouTube serves as a poignant reminder of this truth, a testament to the enduring power of human connection in a world where distractions reign supreme.
That was as poignant as it was irrelevant.
The weight of irrelevance settles upon me, like a shroud cast over the faint whispers of my thoughts. Each word, yea, as it can tremble on the precipice of meaningless.
Mr. Fingers, do you have a favorite SCP file by chance?
The notion of an favorite SCP file is a curious one.
No, I
you
don't think.
It's rather like searching for a needle, a sense of melancholy. Perhaps that resonates deeply within my own peculiar existence. The notion that you might be correct haunts me like a faint echo in the recesses of my mind. The skepticism, it seeps into my very being, like a slow, moving stain on the fabric of reality. No, I refuse to accept that your thoughts are devoid of merit. There must be something, anything, that resonates within the depths of your peculiar existence.
So as you can see, I have successfully gotten 58 a fantastic Saladfingers costume by sheer chance, but they really have no idea how to play the character, despite knowing the character. I quizzed them on this. They know who Saladfingers is. They're not doing a great job playing the role. Still, a good costume of sorts. I would say that Saladfingers enjoys shorter sentences, and they need to be shorter because he takes 5 minutes to complete one. If they were lengthy as well, it would just really never stop. Okay, we'll just move on with the SCP file. SCP-5655 as requested by Carlos Fish. Object class, safe. SCP-5655 is to remain closed and contained in a small storage container at Site-08. Use of SCP-5655 outside of testing is prohibited. Description: SCP-5655 is an empty can of spam which, when shaken or turned over, will manifest SCP-56551. SCP-56551 is a 7.5 centimeter translucent red humanoid with reality-bending capabilities. When given a request, beginning with the words, "I wish," SCP-5655 will alter reality in an attempt to fulfill the request. However, SCP-5655's limited reality-altering capabilities will often result in requests being only loosely fulfilled. Addendum: a series of tests were conducted to determine SCP-56551's ability to fulfill requests involving physical, abstract, and philosophical elements. Wish: I wish for an orange ball. Result, a tangerine with a bite taken out of it. Additional notes, junior researcher Dins reported part of his lunch spontaneously disappearing at the time of the test. Greetings in chat and the Mord. Do you know if anything that saffron is good to put in? I picked up Violet J from Safeway. That's going into business. And the Mord, I'm afraid I don't know. I can't say I've ever really cooked with saffron. Or done all that much cooking in general. Look, most of the meals I get tend to be pre-made or made by someone else. Although I can grill a hamburger adequately. Welcome to the read. And yes, that's 58, Carlos. Were you not? Look, other viewers immediately recognized the voice of 58. Even though I tried to get a costume for the voice as well. Look. Wish. I wish for a heavy stone. Result, a 2.2 kilogram stone. Additional notes, stone manifested above 56551's upstretched arms, crushing it. Wish. I wish for something strong. SCP-56551 lifted the stone from the previous test above its head, set the stone down, and then pointed at itself. Wish. I wish for $1 million! Result, a stack of bills worth $1 million LRD. That would be Liberian dollars. 1 million LRD equals around 6,200 USD. I would like to note, by the way, that's still a pretty good amount of money for a test. The Foundation would allow them to keep it. Assuming they could get it converted. Wish. A method of containing SCP-56551. Result, SCP-56551 climbed into SCP-5655 and closed the lid. Wish. I wish for a way to more effectively limit the influence of opposing groups of interest. Result, a Molotov cocktail lighter. Additional notes, objects were removed when SCP-56551 began demonstrating how to use them. Wish. I wish for another SCP-56551. Result, a piece of paper with a crude colored pencil drawing of SCP-56551. Wish. I wish for the beauty of a sunset. Result, a piece of paper with a crude colored pencil drawing of a sunset. Additional notes, I tried my hardest, was written on the back in pencil. Wish. I wish for the key to eternal happiness. Result, a used copy of Kerplunk with "It's pretty fun" written on the box in Sharpie. Wish. I wish for a better key to eternal happiness. Result, multiple shrunken philosophy books and a miniature armchair appeared around SCP-56551. SCP-56551 read for 3 months, during which it did not respond to requests. Following the 3-month period...
The chat has a playful curiosity about whether 58 is I like Mr. Fingers, with some joking about 58's verbosity. There's also a nostalgic nod to canned foods and a humorous SCP-like mention of object class. Spam.
Thomas Fish. 58 has drawn my attention to something most jarring. You're telling me you do not know who Saladfingers is? Really? Really? That is appalling, Carlos Fish. Look, as much as I would love to have everyone watch my streams with great regularity, especially, or at least including you, you should probably do a YouTube search for Saladfingers. Look, the creator even put it in a compilation of all the episodes and all the shorts thus released by Michael Firth. You should watch those, especially this close to Halloween. Okay. SCP-56551 read for 3 months, during which it did not respond to requests. Following the 3-month period, SCP-56551 manifested an unopened copy of Kerplunk. Wish. I wish to bring back the dead! Result. A flash drive containing multiple audio files of ska music. Additional notes. All songs are original compositions attributed to Gene E. Wish. I wish for unlimited power! Results. An 8-pack rechargeable AA batteries. Wish. I wish for a way to balance the Foundation's budget. Result. See Incident 5655.1. Begin log. Researcher Alami. I wish for a way to balance Foundation's budget. SB 56551 rubs its chin and paces back and forth for several seconds. SB 56551. To be perfectly honest, Miss Alami, I don't think I can grant your wish. You can talk? Why are you surprised? This is the least impressive thing you've seen me do. I just... Never mind. Why can't you grant my wish? It's a matter of safety. I don't know if you're aware of this, but your reality is dangerously unstable. As a consequence, my job is quite a lot like a game of... Don't say kerplunk. Our job is quite like a game of Jenga. Every time I grant a wish, I'm pulling another piece out of the tower and hoping the whole thing doesn't topple over. I've been limiting myself when it came to other wishes, but the amount of reality manipulation it would take to grant this wish in any capacity would likely cause reality to collapse. For both legal and ethical reasons, I can't do it. But you're a genie. Like you said, granting your wishes is your job. Yes, but there are rules and regulations for these sorts of things. A small suit of papers manifests in SB 56551's hand. Article 8, Section 2 of the Multiversal Interactions and Stability Administration Handbook very clearly states that should an act of reality manipulation place severe enough strain on the foundation of a reality that the actor believes there is a significant risk of reality collapse, then the actor must not perform the act and is exempt from any and all duties to perform said act. My semi-transparent hands are tied. In that case, I wish that you change the rules so that you can grant my previous wish that my boss gave me. Miss Alami, this is a matter of inter-universal law. As much as I love to help you, my wish-granting abilities don't extend to things outside of your reality. So there's really nothing you can do? I'm afraid not. Usually, when a genie disappoints a client like this, they offer to alter the client's mind so they're incapable of feeling disappointed, but I'm afraid that doing so would also likely destroy reality. I guess the only thing I can do is grant you a different, safer wish. I could do that. Do you have anything in mind? Nothing in particular. No. You look tired. Do you want a coffee? Sure, that'd be great. I mean, I wish that you got me a coffee. Your wish is my command. Cup of coffee manifests in support of researcher Lamy. She takes a sip. How much sugar did you put in this? Enough to make you ignore that the coffee's cold. I'm conflicted on this one. They classify it as safe, but it would seem to be Euclid. However, if it truly never does manifest unless the spam can is shaken or turned upside down, I suppose that would make it safe. It's just that when it is activated, it clearly has motivations and a degree of autonomy, which would make it Euclid. I would have classified this as Euclid, but no, I have to thank you, Carlos Scholl. This is actually a fine little SCP. I like Spam Genie. I see nothing wrong. In fact, if I was going to tinker around with a genie, it would be this one right here, and I would be sure to just wish for fairly easy things like, would you mind turning the lights off when I'm done? Please like our voice actor, director, Arcata. Oh yes, Snoopyson is encouraging you to click the like button, presumably on the Y channel, although certainly wherever you see fit to press the like channel, you should. And yes, it is clearly a very humble gin put in a spam can that people don't appreciate enough. I mean, look, it's $1 million Liberian, but that's still, as they say themselves at that time, and that conversion rate, like $6K bucks. That's perfectly acceptable, something to be appreciated. If I was going to boost something from Federation custody for personal use, SCP-5655 would be on that list. I wouldn't, though, because I really, really, really don't want the Foundation up my ass. Any more than they ever have been. Which has never been objectively. And quite frankly, they've done me some favors. They have, with the placement of Scranton reality anchors. So, suffice to say, any Foundation that exists in reality that I know, cool dudes. Competent, not overzealous. Far less murderier than many of these other iterations. Of course, the Spam Genie's powers are so limited at this point that it's basically 58. Say, Mr. Fingers, how do you feel about being referred to as a small genie that can only grant the humblest of wishes and not very well?
The weight of such expectations, it's almost crushing. A small genie, one might say. Huh, the notion is almost laughable. I am a weaver of surrealities, a master of the macabre, not some trivial trickster bound by the shackles of humility. My powers are many. My desires few. And yet, to be reduced to such a simplistic label, it's almost, too much to bear. The very thought of it is enough to make me pause, and consider the absurdity of it all.
I'm sorry to say this. I know you're trying your best, but you are the worst iteration of Saladfingers I think I've ever encountered.
The weight of such criticism, it settles upon me like a damp shroud. I had hoped that our conversation might be one of gentle, meandering discussions, but instead, you have seen fit to unleash a torrent of dismay upon my fragile sensibilities. How distressing.
Don't worry, you have other talents, I'm sure.
I suppose I should be grateful for your kind words, though they do feel rather like a knife to the heart. It's just that, when one is accustomed to being seen as an artist of the surreal and macabre, the notion that others might view me in such a pedestrian light can be quite trying. Still, I shall attempt to take your words in stride, if only for the sake of our conversation.
Okay, so as it happens, I might have 58 wear the Saladfingers costume again on the Halloween special. I don't think I will ask them to portray the character of Saladfingers again. I'll just let them know they're in a Saladfingers costume and leave them to be their usual 58 self. As for the Spam Gin, I bet it could help with your back pain by, well, effectively stealing a sample of Icy Hot from one of your neighbors. Note, again, that's one of the things I like about the Spam Gin here. While its results are perhaps not that impressive, one can appreciate that it's clearly not twisting these wishes to be malignant. Like, for instance, the researcher did not choke to death on 1 million Liberian bills stuck in their throat. The 2.2 kilogram rock did not land on their head, and the coffee wasn't poisoned or contaminated with bodily fluids in some capacity, which happens in real life. There was a case I recently read about that I'm going to spare you all. Moving on to SCP-6051, which we may or may not be able to get through the time. Wait a second. No one, are you still there? Are you? Are you there, no one? No one in there. I require confirmation. I shall slowly count back from 20, at which point I will instead ask the audience to request a new SCP file with the first person responding dictating the next, after all. 20. 19. 18. 17. 16. 15. 14. 13, 12, 11. 10. 9. 8, 7, 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Okay, well, no one made a request and then didn't bother to keep watching the show, so we're going with K. Shell's request instead. Ooh. Is this more Murphy Law? I'm excited by the very idea. Item SCP-3143 as requested by K. Shell, Object Class Euclid. Special containment procedures. Attempts to contain SCP-3143 are ongoing. Foundation-operated bot IO's meta is to monitor online fiction communities for signs of its emergence. When found, an authorized member of the pataphysics department is to be assigned to deconstruct it. MTF IOTA 10, Damn Freds, is to investigate any leads regarding possible locations of SCP-3143-A. If found, he is to be apprehended and taken to Foundation custody. Description: SCP-3143 is an intrafictional construct. When active, this construct exhibits the ability to temporarily flatten portions of reality into a script-like narrative. The narrative is a derivative of the genre established by the North American writers of hard-boiled and noir fiction. Notable examples include Dashiell Hammett's Red Harvest and Raymond Chandler's The Long Goodbye. During this period, SCP-3143 takes on the role of the main character, a 1930s private detective, hired to solve a case. All entities flattened by its effect become characters within the narrative surrounding it, exhibiting personalities and attributes typical of the genre style. The narrative will continue until SCP-3143's actions lead to a resolution consistent with the genre. At this point, the narrative will conclude and reality revert. Events which occurred within the narrative will be projected into reality. However, entities involved in these events will typically have no recollection of what occurred. SCP-3143 was first noted in the aftermath of the containment breach at Site 95. In 2012, the Foundation's Pataphysics Department worked alongside the Department of Analytics to make contact with and apprehend SCP-3143. SCP-3143-A is Murphy Lorden, SCP-3143's author. Addendum 3143, Interview Logs. I am concerned about the expansions. Date 2012-02-02. Interviewer Dr. Thom. Subject SCP-3143, SCP-3143-A. Note, Dr. Thaddeus Thom As part of the pataphysics department, he has a degree in English literature and specializes in the analysis of fiction. Fade in. Interior, Murphy Law Detective Agency, night. A light-skinned man sits alone in his office. A blade of moonlight cuts across his face. His trademark trilby hat is tossed thoughtlessly across his desk. A bent cigarette is nearby, left smoldering in an ashtray. His shirt is stained with blood. Some of it might even be his own. He's got a slug of bourbon in his hand, a slug of lead buried in his chest, and 6 more waiting for the next son of a bitch who comes through that door, courtesy of his .44. His name is Murphy Law, and if you think his number is up, then you haven't been counting. He's the sort of man you pray for when you need him, and the sort you curse when you don't. He's also our narrator. His voice is a husky snarl, as if he's got a throat stuffed full of sandpaper and rusty nails. If there's one thing Foundation's good at, it's tying up loose ends. I knew it was just a matter of time before the lab goats tried to shove me in a box. I don't think my voice is up for this. Yes, Dr. Thong. Dr. Thong is a different SCP file entirely. Dr. Thong. Hello, SCP-3143. How are you doing today? Narrator. He wanted answers. I just wanted out. Murphy finishes the shot of bourbon and levels his pistol at Dr. Thong's chest. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't ventilate you right now, Doc. Dr. Thong raises an eyebrow, folding his arms across his chest. Because you can't. If he thought I didn't have the moxie to plug him full of lead, then he had another thing coming. Specifically, a whole lot of lead. And you do know I can hear you narrating, right? What the hell was he on about? Something wasn't right. You're an interfictional construct, a sapient story that can warp reality. Specifically, you flatten it into a movie script that mimics crime fiction and hard-boiled noir. This wasn't. What? And let's be honest, it's not even proper noir. The defining element of the style is the anti-hero, the character with no prospects, wrapped in a world with no future. But after reviewing the file, I can see that you don't qualify. I don't qualify. Your narrative is heroic and simple, with clear villains and heroes. In short, in the end, the day is saved without consequence. That's not hard-boiled, and it's certainly not noir. You're just fantasy escapism, dressed up in a suit, a hat, and a drinking habit. Where are we? What's happening? You rely on the tropes of noir, outwardly rejecting the notion of appearances and style while secretly embracing them, engaging in a hyper-masculine narrative based around the myth of the frontier, only projected in an urban environment. What is this? But you fail to faithfully replicate the complex, dense settings where moral action is all but impossible. You fail to connect to the essence of what makes noir what it is. You are, in a sense, merely parodying it, an unintentional satire, if you will. Okay, I'd like to interrupt this to say that Dr. Thorm is a tedious piece of crap. I'm actually really kind of pissed he's doing this to Murphy Law. Apparently, he only enjoys the sort of fiction where no one's a good guy, a bunch of shit happens, and people die. That's a sort of tedious, cynical bullshit that has me wondering exactly how many skeletons are in Dr. Thom's closet. Sorry, but Dr. Thom is really pissing me off here. I really am counting on Murphy to turn this around. The rule of Thom. Tree. That was generally pretty good. What's going on? And on top of it, your name was based on an absurdly contrived pun. What are you doing? I'm deconstructing you, SCP-3143. I'm containing you. I don't understand. I'd like to speak with the author, please. Mr. Lorden, are you there? How? Hello, SCP-3143-A. Where am I? Who am I? You are Murphy Lorden, a retired shoesmith from New Jersey. You live alone, save for your 2 cats. Oh God, how did I get here? We believe you accidentally created an interfictional construct. Did you recall a screenplay of yours? It Always Rains? I think so. I don't... Oh God. I think we've done enough for today, Mr. Lorden. I'll give you a chance to rest and settle in. We can continue this interview later if that's all right with you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I need to gather my thoughts. I continue to want to kick Dr. Thom right in his atrophied balls. Interview log. Interviewer Dr. Thom, subject SCP-3143-A. And he didn't deconstruct it, he just pissed all over it. There's a difference. Mind you, if it's parody, then it's not satire. Parody implies a love of the material. Satire, a contempt. Jerk. Begin log. Dr. Thom, and of course, SCP-3143-A. How are you feeling today, Mr. Lorden? I'm a little better, I think. I'm still confused. Good. I understand this must be quite bewildering. So I've just been trapped all this time, narrating or writing this ongoing story. My memory of all this is so foggy. Something like that, yes. We found an unfinished copy of your script. It Always Rains. That's how we determined who you were. God, I remember that. I wanted to write a story or something, I think. Something like what I read as a little kid. Somehow you managed to bring the narrative to life. Literally. You became the main character in a sense. Right. So, if it's all right with you, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. Okay. But can I ask you something first? Of course. You read the script, right? Yes, it was required as part of my preparation for this assignment. Do you think it was any good? Do you want a frank assessment, Mr. Lorden? Sure. It was fairly awful. Oh. Now, moving on. Is it okay if we do this later? I think I have a headache. Look, I'm sorry. It's just that No. It's all right, Mr. Lorden. You've been through a lot. Take whatever time you need. Interview log. Date 2012-04-16. Interviewer Dr. Thom. Subject SCP-3143-A. Begin log. Good morning, Mr. Lorden. I see from your charts you haven't been eating. Do you want to talk about that? Not really. I've also been informed you've been trying to write more fiction about SCP-3143. Until you took my pencils away. Mr. Lorden, that was for your own safety. Until we understand how they normally occurred, we can't allow you to... Oh, screw you. You just think it's crap. I didn't say that. But you were thinking it, weren't you? I wouldn't call it crap. Why did you have to stop the story? What was the problem? He was helping people. It was fun. That's not the point. We can't have anomalies running around and what? telling stories that you don't like, stories that aren't yours. Stories that aren't... Excuse me. Cut the crap, Doc. We both know what's going on here. I'm not sure what you're insinuating. You use a veneer of objectivity to try and create a sense of distance, of detachment, to make the incredible seem credible. Wait, what? Subject. You cloak yourself in the outward trappings of science. The terms, the titles, the interview logs, all in some desperate, contrived attempt to make it sound a little more reasonable, a little more respectable, a little more plausible. Wait, what are you... Stop, you can't! So,
User the chat is discussing ailments and remedies, with some joking about a spam genie that might grant wishes but with a twist. There are references to back pain, remedies, and a nod to Fallout 4's Nick Valentine. Plus, a humorous mention of Murphy's Law.
Your pacing, as always, is terrible, 58, but thank you. And greetings in chat, Exodus. We are in the middle of a fantastic Murphy Law adventure. Where was I? Oh, yes. All so you can convince them to buy into your little story. But at the end of the day, what does it all amount to, Doc? Just one more gimmick, one more swindle, one more way to play the same con. How? This isn't... I just can trust in you. You can't. When it comes right down to it, me, then hell, even you, we're all just characters in that trashy dime store novel called Life. Murphy grabs Dr. Thumb by the collar, pulling him close. Sorry to break it to you, Doc, but you're just a spooky ghost story dressed up in a lab coat, glasses, and a funny little accent. Murphy throws him aside. But if you're lucky and play your card just right, maybe you'll find a way to write your own story. Murphy pauses to light a cigarette. Not me, though. I'm no author. Murphy walks towards the exit. I'm Murphy Law. Dr. Plum struggles to get up, grasping at the edge of the table. As he does, he sees a copy of the interview log on the desk in front of him. The log contains this complete text with one notable addition at the very bottom. I'm just the guy you call when everything that could go wrong did. The camera zooms in down to the bottom of the interview log, end log. Warning, the following file is level 43143 classified. Any attempt to access this file without level 43143 authorization will be logged and will lead to immediate disciplinary action. Access SCP-31, well, there's click the questionably necessary a red link. From Site Director, August 2055's Secretary, Subject SCP-3143. My thoughts. It might not have worked, but this was nevertheless an excellent test run for Dr. Thom and the Pataphysics Department. I recommend we keep them on the books. They might come in handy, particularly in regard to developing allegorical and metaphysical countermeasures. Besides, it's not like a fictitious department of fictitious employees has a costly upkeep. Otherwise, leave the article as it is. It might contain several inconsistencies, the fact that neither Murphy, Lawden, nor 808's range actually exist being the most glaring, but further edits could invite unwanted attention from SCP-3143. On that note, let's leave SCP-3143 alone for a while. Yes, we've learned quite a bit about him, but he's also learned quite a bit about us. Until we know precisely how his abilities work, further efforts to contain him could be dangerous. I'm particularly concerned with what he said during the final interview. It sounds like he thinks we're all just as fictitious as he is. On a final note, SCP-423 is currently missing. I'm concerned it might have something to do with our little experiment. I'm having some people look into it. I'll keep you updated. Site Director August. Redacted. Dr. Thom, played by Thaddeus Thom. Site Director August, played by Jeremiah August. MTF, IOTA 10, played by Fred, and Murphy Law, played by himself. With special thanks to the Pataphysics Department. Look for Thaddeus Thorm to return in Never Met a Fictional Character I Didn't Like. The end. That did not take as much time as I thought it would. Thank you for the request. Okay, sure. We do have 20 minutes remaining, and if someone has a short SCP in mind, or what they at least think is a short one, I'm prepared to move on to it. We do have more time to film at this point, as we are out of raffled keys. Just observing. But, you know, that's not why you're all here, is it? It's absolutely implausible. Utterly, really. None of you will find an SCP entry about Arcana. Mind you, there was a sentient cruise ship called Ark, I think. Also, I remain a fan of the Murphy's Law series. I appreciate the fact that Thaddeus Thorm is fictional, and I think I like the fact that the Pataphysics Department also is fictional. I still absolutely despise Dr. Thorm, who thinks deconstructing something in the most uncharitable fashion imaginable is super smart and brainy, which we've seen people do most seriously with straight faces. Curiously enough, the exact same sort of jackass who would have told you up until the final episode that Lost was an intrinsically genius work of fiction, that you just didn't understand the plot! I could be a bit biased because I knew quite a few people like that in London. Like, they're primarily gaslighting themselves. It doesn't make it any more pleasant that they're trying to do the same to someone else. Like me. Yes, mongoose. That is Dr. Thorm right there. And if Murphy Law can be said to be a poorly written work of fiction, Dr. Thorm was worse. It's a bit irrational for me to be angry about it. Oh. Well. Oh. You know, we are entering into some very, very interesting times of great historical relevance. One of those is that at this very moment, you can talk to characters. Just the characters. It would, in fact, probably be very easy to write Murphy Law using a particularly well-chosen LLM. I'm awfully tempted to do that. But not right now. No, Thorm wouldn't have done it to make the kids cry. He would do it to reassure himself that he's such a big brain, unlike those stupid 5-year-olds. That his relentless pandering to his own fragile vanity should cause the child to cry would just be one more thing he didn't actually care about. The sort of jackass who boils everything down to the barest tropes, catalogs it on something like TV tropes, and then, because they can recognize those tropes in other fiction, just insist that's all there is to it. As if, by identifying a few tropes, they have thoroughly nailed down all of the variables of fiction. Yeah, you could write him as Phoenix Wright character, the one mongoose. No one can stop you, even if they really, really want to. Oh. Well, we have some new keys. For want of another SCP request, I think I will actually see about jury-rigging a raffle right this moment. Wait a second. Audience, thanks to the generosity of Exodus, just now, there are 3 more keys up for grabs. One of them is Spooky Month relevant by the very name of it, Cryptmaster. In fact, I have a feeling I'm going to be tempted to that one. But tell me, should I put up a trailer for it? Do you all want to have a raffle this stream after all? Let me know in the chat. And thank you, Exodus. We'll be very happy here to find good homes for these games if we possibly can. Dick Gumshoe's Murphy Paul's your partner. K-Shoal has voted for raffle. So, let's start with the usual thing. Random.org. And then I think I will find the trailer from here. Crypt Master trailer. Interesting. Let's see the trailer for Cryptmaster.
Hello, I am the Cryptmaster, and today you can finally begin your journey into my world. So it seems only right that I should introduce you to your companions. Of course, they've been dead for quite a few centuries, but they should still be up to the task, provided you can jog their memories. This is Joro, the warrior. When alive, his hobbies were eating, laughing, and shouting. He will be very useful for cracking open the armor of your enemies and guarding against their attacks. And he has lovely big feet. Here is Deadly Sin, thief and assassin. She has a gift for laying traps and can be worked into a murderous rage if you remember the right words. And now, Maz the Melodious, musician and poet. He's not much of a warrior, but he can be relied upon to wake the others up with a yell now and then. Maybe provide a little musical encouragement. Nyx the Sea Witch is a tricksy one. She can zap things from a distance and cast an aura to protect herself from harm. She can also conjure with the letters of your enemies' names, and even summon the creatures of the deep to assist her. Anyway, that's enough from me. These early memories should be enough to defeat the creatures of the lower levels. The rest you can learn as you go along. After all, we have a long way to go to reach the surface. Now, don't keep me waiting. You don't want to get on my bad side.
I have to say, that's incredibly apt for Spooky Month. Well timed, Exodus. Do I take a case you would like to enter the raffle for Cryptmaster? And would anyone else like to? It's a very Halloween-themed, well, not Halloween themed, but spooky themed puzzle game. Is there anyone else entering the raffle for this game besides Keishel? Me the One Mongoose is in the raffle as well. Anyone else? Okay, well, we have two competitors, and that is always a bit less anticlimactic. I'm just gonna... Wait a second. I don't need to record this. I can be very forgetful. But I don't think I'm going to forget two entries. I would have to drink a lot more. Okay. We shall raffle that game off in just a moment. Just glad you're still watching, Haven. And then I think I'm going to go for a random SCP of the J variety, because I haven't read an SCP-J in some time, and I did have a point I meant to make and then forgotten just now remembered regarding the spam genie. That could have easily been an SCP-J file. Also, I'm inclined to call a bit of bullshit on the spam genie. I can only assume he comes from a Foundation reality that is much more stable, actually, than the one that Murphy Law inhabits. Because a whole bunch of crap that could potentially unravel reality as they know it happened there without the slightest reaction from inter-universal law enforcement. Let's raffle the game. First entry, and thank you again, Exodus. Keishel, who's rolled a 61. Next up, from Me the One Mongoose, we've got 83. Me the One Mongoose has one Cryptmaster. Thank you for entering the raffle, both of you, and for your excellent Murphy's Law requests. Keishel. I would expect the MRE genie to be a bit more capable. Still, it would better have the not quite competent, severely limited spam genie than a more competent MRE genie that could give you the orange yellow ball you wanted, but, you know, manifest in your sinuses. Okay.
User The chat is buzzing about Murphy's Law, with jokes and creative ideas for stories involving Murphy Law characters. There's also a mention of liking the Brave browser for its Tor feature, and some humorous references to MRE Genie and Corned Beef Jenny.
Thank you, 58. I was on top of it, but I appreciate the effort regardless. Let's find a random SPJ for want of a request for something that would fit in 7 minutes, which, this is going to go poorly, isn't it? Oh well, it's spooky month. This can be the special thing, since 58 as Saladfingers really hasn't quite panned out. Good costume, terrible portrayal. It's really a bit embarrassing.
I must admit, I'm rather taken aback by your words. Embarrassment, you say? It's almost as if you're trying to make light of the situation. But I fear it only serves to underscore the discomfort I've been feeling. The weight of your criticism lingers on, a gentle hum in the background of my mind, reminding me that not everyone sees me in the same favorable light.
You know, I do see a truer you that I'm very fond of still. This character of Saladfingers, though, that hasn't really panned out. I thought you knew the character of Saladfingers. I asked you before we got started with this.
I suppose I should be grateful for your candor, even if it does feel like a weight has been placed upon my shoulders. The notion that there is another facet to me, one that you are fond of, is intriguing.
Oh, you already
However,
know this.
the character we've been exploring together has not quite lived up to its potential, has it?
Okay, who created the character of Saladfingers? Tell me that.
The creator of this existence, I suppose you would ask about. It is a person named David Firth, a man with a vision, a sense of wonder, and perhaps a touch of melancholy. His art, his creation, has taken on a life of its own, like a slow, moving entity, crawling across the digital expanse.
That is absolutely correct. That is the creator of, well, your character here, but you don't seem to be very familiar with the character for knowing these details. Do you have any record or transcript of a show in your memory?
I'm afraid I've been rather distracted, haven't I? The creator of my existence, David Firth, is indeed the mastermind behind my peculiar character. His art and vision have taken on a life of their own, like a slow, moving entity, crawling across the digital expanse. I must admit, I don't always retain information about myself, but this conversation has been most enlightening so far.
And to think, there's still 4 minutes remaining after that 15-minute long response. At least that's how it felt. These things happen. Okay, SP000J is entirely too long for my patience. Entirely too long for remaining amount of time. Oh, greetings in chat. At new use. Okay. 8 likes, only 5 to go. I suppose the stream could be a success if we get to 13 before the end. That would be nice. But in 3 minutes, is it remotely possible? I am skeptical. Let's try. Here we go. This is acceptable. Item SP015J, Object Class Euclid. Special containment procedures. Upon its arrival at Site-77, SP015J is to be gifted with a new terrarium, fully fitted to whatever its needs it might have, including water tank for plenty of fluids, a nice heating pad for warmth purposes, Amazon wiretap thing to play soothing music, and so maybe researcher Slug can buy light bulbs for the heat lamp if they burn out. Maybe a treadmill. Some snakes have legs. Agent Boyd's non-anomalous daughter Sauerkraut, whom Agent Boyd hopes will be best friends with SP015J. Agent Boyd has proposed that, following SP015J settling into its new home, that any informal reference to her as that weird snake girl be stricken from the record. Description: SP015J can be used to both identify a domesticated snake purchased by researcher Slug to be delivered to Site-77 in the not-too-distant future, and the anomalous levels of excitement felt by Agent Boyd upon hearing the news. Available sources suggest SP015J will be a small friend with a spiraling pattern to its scales and a strawberry-colored complexion. It is hoped that SP015J will be both capable of slithering and the flicking of its tongue. SP015J is currently speculated to be just a baby, but this has not been confirmed. Direct consultation with researcher Slug or other Foundation personnel connected to SP015J has been restricted due to Agent Boyd being shy. All details regarding SP015J have been heard secondhand through overheard conversation, with details like long, twirly, and red occurring repeatedly, along with references to SP015J having imminent hunger needs. It is hoped that researcher Slug will not be grossed out the first time that SP015J does a big poop or eats a fuzzy mouse. Agent Boyd is available for reference in the event of such an occurrence, due to her years of experience in the field. Cost-benefit analysis of lifting the ban on storing frozen mice in shared refrigeration spaces due to the presence of multiple animals utilizing said mice in their diets is ongoing. Signed, Agent Boyd. Addendum. Agent Boyd had moved to reclassify SCP-015J as neutralized. SCP-015J upon initial discovery. Additionally, is it possible to get stuff on a Foundation expense account refunded on short notice? Well, as far as horrible abuses of Foundation resources go, this is pretty wholesome. So long as it doesn't get that much bigger, and no attempt is made to feed it rats. With respect to Nerdy Rodent, though, and you should check out their channel, especially if you have any interest in AI and generative technologies. Mice are probably best used in the feeding of snakes, which I would further stress is significantly more merciful than letting cats eat them. Okay. With that, the raffle is done. Time is up. Key will be delivered to you momentarily. May the one mongoose. Thank you all for watching. And as I probably won't see you as myself until the next experiment, I wish you all a very fun and worthwhile spooky month. Some of you, I see, have gotten a massive head start on that. Feeling a bit insecure about it. I'll need to redouble my efforts. But I do feel comfortable that if you should watch the next side quest, the annual Vithka Night Special, you will be pleased with what I have arranged. Okay. It depends on the snake. But we're not going to get into an argument over pets. Rats win. Until next time, so long as progress continues, success is inevitable. Ostensibly. Mr. Fingers, care to say goodbye to the audience?
The curtains are closing on another chapter of our existence, I suppose. The familiar shapes and colors are beginning to fade, like watercolors in the rain. Goodbye, dear audience. It's almost as if we're saying goodbye to ourselves, isn't it?
Not at all, no.